When you come out and when you leave the room, you'll see that we just, over the last few minutes, literally shot out a boat, a drug-carrying boat, a lot of drugs in that boat. And you'll be seeing that and you'll be reading about that. It just happened moments ago. And our great general, head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, who's been so incredible, including what took place in...
Hello. Today we're discussing one of the most complex and far-reaching conflicts in the world, the deep tensions between the United States and Venezuela. What are the true reasons behind this confrontation? Three main theories attempt to explain why this conflict persists. 1. Security agenda. Is the primary goal preventing drug trafficking and combating transnational networks? 2. Resources and energy. Is the motive ensuring access to the world's largest oil reserves? 3. Geopolitics and model clash. Is this an ideological battle and an effort to contain the influence of Russia and China?
Let's break down the arguments behind these theories. A. Security agenda, the U.S. government's stated reason. This motive focuses on public safety and national security. The U.S. government explicitly cites the need to combat drug trafficking and transnational criminal networks, which they claim have found refuge in Venezuela. This approach frames Venezuela as a critical security challenge in the Caribbean region. B. Resources and energy. The economic incentive is undeniable. Venezuela holds the world's largest proven oil reserves. The ultimate goal is to secure access to these resources and ensure stability in the global energy supply. Sanctions and political pressure are viewed as tools to facilitate foreign investment and trade in Venezuela's vital energy sector. C. Model clash and great power competition. This theory emphasizes the ideological and geopolitical clash, the free market model versus the socialist nationalistic model, Bolivarianism. Furthermore, a key underlying objective is to diminish the increasing influence of Russia and China in the critical Latin American region.
Throughout the 20th century, U.S. policy in the region was guided by the Monroe Doctrine, 1823, asserting the U.S. as the dominant power in the Western Hemisphere. Economic influence was widely exerted not just by the U.S. government, but by powerful entities like the Rockefeller Foundation and major multinational corporations, which helped shape the economic and political direction of Latin American nations. This foreign structural influence and widespread economic inequality fueled a strong domestic reaction rooted in two powerful intellectual movements. 1. Liberation theology. This religious movement, focusing on social justice, lent moral legitimacy to leftist struggles. 2. Bolivarianism. This ideology, spearheaded by Hugo Chavez in Venezuela, aimed for full national independence, nationalization of resources, oil, and the promotion of 21st century socialism as an alternative to US-backed economic models. This made Venezuela a focal point for challenging US dominance. What is clear today is that two factors are decisive: the internal collapse of the Bolivarian model and the intensification of great power competition. This collapse occurred precisely as the Trump administration challenged the very foundation of the globalist order. A shift in policy was underway, moving from diplomatic pressure to a direct ideological confrontation. As President Trump famously declared at the United Nations,
We reject the ideology of globalism, and we embrace the doctrine of patriotism. Around the world,
this anti-globalist stance marked a definitive pivot in U.S. policy, seeking to dismantle socialist experiments in the Western Hemisphere. However, as the United States moved to isolate the regime and contain its influence, two global giants stepped in to provide a strategic lifeline. First, China, the economic banker. Over the last 2 decades, Beijing has poured more than $60 billion into Venezuela through a loans for oil model. This was not just aid, it was a calculated investment in energy security, making Venezuela a key hub for China's Belt and Road ambitions. Second, Russia, the military shield. Moscow focused on defense, selling Venezuela billions in advanced weaponry, from Sukhoi fighter jets to S-300 missile systems. By deploying military advisors and conducting joint exercises, the Kremlin established a crucial geopolitical outpost right on the U.S. doorstep. This combination of internal failure and external support has turned Venezuela into one of the most dangerous and strategic fronts in the struggle for a new world order.
The Venezuela conflict marks the end of one era and the beginning of a new one in global politics. We are witnessing the definitive failure of the Bolivarian and liberation theology models. This specific brand of globalist socialism has reached its structural limit, discredited by economic incapacity and systemic corruption. What remains is a high-stakes game of survival and strategy. Venezuela is now the stage for a lethal combination of factors: the struggle for oil, security interests against drug trafficking, and most importantly, the fight to contain Chinese and Russian influence in Latin America. Now it's your turn. Considering the evidence of the failed socialist dream and the rise of this new global rivalry, what do you believe is the root cause of this tragedy? Is it internal mismanagement, or is Venezuela a pawn in a much larger game? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this analysis, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue producing more in-depth content. Thank you for watching.